So if it is Terraform variables, then it has a prefix of tf underscore var. So all the environment variables have a standard way of naming, standard naming convention. So you just have to make use of that um, prefix, and with the help of that, Terraform will automatically be able to understand what kind of variable it is and whether it's something that is relevant for it and something it needs to use. So for Terraform, if you see that there's a tf underscore var prefix, or if there is a arm prefix, based on that it'll be able to understand whether this variable is an spn, or if this variable is any, like it's a spn, or you can say a provider config, provider credential, or if it is a Terraform variable. So we've been hearing this command export. Is it something that is relevant to that is specific to Terraform, or is it a general command? So export is a command built in your operating system's shell. So it is a command that will work in Bash, in PowerShell, in ZSH, or even Windows command prompt. So the main idea of this command is to define certain environment variables. So in any CLI you want to define any environment variable, you make use of this command export. So what does export do? It takes a normal variable, like for example region is equal to east US, and upgrades it into an environment variable, making it available to any tool like Terraform running from that terminal session. So just adding a few more other points, using an external secret manager like Azure Key Vault or HashiCorp Vault, or an AWS Secrets Manager or a GCP Secret Manager, is something which is recommended. So instead of having your secrets in all the above ways that we mentioned, like using an environment variable or adding them into the provider's configuration, having these values stored within these vaults is the safest option whenever you're working as a team. And then another point we need to talk about is secure your state file. So even if secrets are marked sensitive, they are stored in your Terraform TF state file, and that too in plain text format. So it is important for you to store these state files in a remote backend rather than locally storing them, because then otherwise easily people can access your secrets. And you also need to enable encryption and restrict the access to this file to only trusted users. And one of the most important thing is never commit your Terraform TF state file to Git. The third section is to understand the use of collections and structural types. Understanding Terraform data types like collection structures can help you write more powerful and reusable code. So there are multiple types which we'll talk about one by one. So first of all, collection types are mainly used to store multiple values in a single variable. Okay, so you have list, you have set, and you have map. These are the three different collection types, and they are used to store multiple values in a single variable. So it's like a list. So list is the first one which we saw. List, it allows you to store a list is used to store collection of values, but all these values will be of the same type. So collection of values of one type alone, but variables or values can repeat inside it. And it's also an ordered collection, so you can index it, like you can say I want to fetch a value at this particular index position, 0th index, first index, like that. Set is an unordered unique set. So here values cannot repeat, but it is unordered. So that means you do not have an index for these values. So order also doesn't matter. And then last one which we have is maps. Maps are key value pairs. So they are like dictionaries in Python or like JSON objects. So they have keys and values within them, and they have a flower bracket around them. So I think that is clear. These are all types of collections. So the next one is structural types. So previously whatever types we saw, they all have to have the same data type together. So it can be collection of strings, collection of numbers. It cannot be it all has to be of the same type. But in the second case of structural types, they can be of different types. You can have data of different types within the group. So the first one is just object. So object is it's like a struct with fixed fields and types. So you can say that this object, you can have name, age, and tags, and this can be a string, this is number, this is a map of strings, so it can be of type which we learned before. And then the second type is tuple. Tuple is ordered value of different types. So it's like a list itself, but inside you can have different types of data. So it's like a list, but each position can hold different types of data. So here is a summary of what all we saw right now. The next section is talking about resource blocks and data blocks. So resource blocks, as we know, is used to create, manage, update or delete a resource. So anything you want to create or delete within the cloud provider that you're working with, you will find that inside a resource block. Now, data block is something which is more important. So, a resource block is obviously the important one, but it's the one which we always use. Data block is used only once in a while, and the purpose of this is basically you want to read or fetch the data from an existing resource. So, it does not create anything or delete anything, it just reads the data from an existing resource and allows you to make use of that in your code. So, here you can see that there is an example of a data block that is created. So, here it is trying to read the data of an existing resource group. So it's specifying this. So this looks up a resource group called as prod rg that already exists in Azure. So now you can make use of the values of this. So you might want to get the location name of the resource group over here. You might want to get the location of the resource group over here to create a storage account. So there you can make use of this data from the data block. So here's the key difference. Resource block is to create and manage the infrastructure, and data block is just to read and reuse an existing infrastructure. So if you look here, you can see the situations where it's useful. So when you want to build a resource group or a virtual machine or a VNet, then we use resource block. But when you want to fetch an existing key vault or subnet details, then we use a data block.